Hello there, this is Samantha Jayne here in the UK, and I am bringing to you my Pride Show just to give you some insight into the energies that are at play right now around us and maybe impacting your life in various ways. So I don't know if you've noticed, but we have been incredibly tired lately. I know that I have as well. And that is because we've been shifting massively because we're heading towards the full moon. So something has been building up inside us, and that has been there for quite some time. That building, that need to release something, whether it's emotion or energy, it has been there. And the energies, the planetary influences are encouraging us, and in fact requiring, stroke demanding, that we actually let it out. So it is as if the universe is putting us in a position where we have no choice to do this and to go through this process. So many people will have been wrestling with old emotions lately, or feeling extremely tired and drained, having a low energy, which then is bringing in that low emotion state as well. And what happens is when we are clearing and shifting things is that we are actually going through a healing, a major healing. We don't necessarily have to go to a healer to experience that. So what happens is we experience what is called a healing crisis. And this is the body struggling to catch up with the energetic shift that has gone on. The body has the strongest density of energy, so therefore it's always the last thing to go through the process of the healing of a shift. So, we're in recovery position basically, and our responses can be very intense to the situations around us, especially linking to family and home and material or financial career matters. But what is happening is that things can be triggering us in order to get us to shift and to clear. Now, the great news, and it certainly is great in my house, and with all the technology and stuff we use, is that Mercury has gone direct today. So finally, that pressure cannon is starting to release. That releasing of emotions, that releasing of old emotion, old habits, old connections that just no longer serve us in this new world has kind of come to an end. We're in the slide out of it now, which is amazing. But we may feel torn, between our responsibilities and this new sort of desire for freedom. There are a lot of relationships hitting the wall right now, and confrontation is possible as well. All right. So there is this. It's just because we're recognizing what we need and what we don't need anymore in order to be well. So things are constantly changing, and that in itself may drain us or aggravate us, and that is where this confrontation is possible. So it certainly is a time this week to be going with that flow. Great for those who are involved in creative projects, whether that's photography, art, painting, sculpting, theatre production, anything like that, because these energies now are supporting us in achieving our dreams, which is only a good thing. So you need to get back in your creative flow, if that is your thing, if that is your source of abundance, or if that is your gift to the world. Mercury goes direct, as I say, and now this week we can begin to trust what the people around us are saying is the truth. But more importantly, I feel, is that we can actually trust our own judgment. So it's a good time. It's a good time for concentrating, for focusing, and that could be studying, or it could be simply working on something that needs a lot of attention to detail. It's a great time for getting things done neatly and properly without mistake. Great time to finish that tax return, but it's also a great time to study, to make important decisions, a good time for discussions and negotiations and any business dealings as well. So if you keep yourself in the position of having common sense when you approach these dreams and desires of yours, and you turn your attention to generating practical results within it, then this is a really good time to make some headway, to start moving forward and making those long-term plans. As I say, also a great time for signing contracts, and especially those that involve property or shares and things like that. So you can be confident at the moment about making some commitment to other people as well at this time, whether that is in new relationships, new business partnerships, or simply friendships. But whatever forms now in this new energy has the power to be long lasting and dependable for us. Now, we are heading towards the full moon, which is on the 24th, and that is about balance. That is about having balance between our private life, our domestic situations, our home, and our career and our reputation. So there is a lot of struggle potentially for people who are really out of balance when it comes to these things. But your home life is going to become increasingly important to you, as is your career. So there is this need to really find a way to bring those two aspects into your life together to work in a better way. Because, we've got that Cancer energy around, which is about valuing our home base. Just like that crowd, we retreat into our shells. We want that home. We want that sanctuary. We want to put roots down as well. Many people, and that's why that property thing comes in, because a lot of people will be wanting to put roots down. But at the same time, we're having to consider our responsibilities in terms of our public self, our professional line, our professional work and what we do. So it really is a time for bringing in a goal or achieving a goal. But we've got to be really careful that we're not neglecting our careers and we're not neglecting our home life either. Because if we are, something is going to backfire on us. Things aren't going to go to plan this month, so these few weeks. So just be aware of that. This moon is about balancing that commitment to our career and to our families. So if you know deep down you need to do that, I'm going to say you have been warned. So make sure that you take the time to invest in both aspects of your life and getting both of those right. Because otherwise you're going to find this time quite demanding. So it is about discovering what matters to us over the next 2 weeks, and what that represents, what that looks like, what we want to achieve, but in a way that will create a balance, a harmony, not an imbalance, and therefore massive problems later on. So I'm turning to the tarot now. If you wanted to grab yourself a reading, you can book through my site, which is needapsychic.co.uk. It's all on there, all about my online consultations. But really, what I'm being shown through the cards is that you're not as trapped, you're not as stuck as you think. We've just walked through so many seasons of challenge. I actually feel I want to say 8 months of challenge can now come to an end if you will just look again and start to step forward, start to make better choices that center around you having that sense of freedom that you truly desire. You may have to stand your ground, though, as well this week on the things that you have been bringing in, on those changes, on those choices, those decisions. These are the things you've already decided or already put into place. You've still got a bit of work to do. You're not over. It's not over yet. You're not out of that energy field of the doing, but you're going to find yourself having to stand your ground on doing that, on putting things into place that you have already made decisions about doing. I hope that makes sense. Definitely a season to be following your intuition and trusting it, especially when you've got to make some decisions, especially if those decisions involve healing or walking away from people in order to heal in your life. Because we have this high priestess energy coming in. It's about knowledge, but spiritual knowledge. Whatever your religion, your faith, your belief, whatever it is, I'm going to encourage you to turn to it for that guidance, for that knowledge, for that know-how. This is a week for healing, but you have to take leadership to do that. You have to step forward. So it may even be that your family is in need of healing. Remember I said about that focus on family and home is coming in as well. You may find that your children or your spouse need healing, that you need to take charge of that. You need to lead the way. or it may even be that you need to lead through example and be the person that does the healing, takes those steps so that others will follow you. There is this sense of victory for many people in their work aspect this week. And again, it has been challenging. For those of you that it has been challenging, in fact, for the last 12 months, you're going to find that there are victories now. The steps you are taking lead to victory, or the steps you have taken are bringing you to that victory now this week. You've got to use your knowledge. You've got to use your know-how. You've got to stop the positions who could judge you. All of that needs to be looked at and needs to be addressed. If you want the victory, you've got to recognize that knowledge is power and to use your own. Instead of being afraid of those that have that knowledge, have that power, seek out what you need and then use it to create a victory somewhere in your work aspect. So if you have interviews, that is a good time for it this week, and good luck with that. But make sure they see your knowledge, they see your know-how, and look for those opportunities to make connections with new people, new opportunities, and open yourself up for that spiritual growth. So I hope that serves you well this week. Have an amazing week. I'm sending you all lots of blessings, and I will see you all next week. Just keep going forward. Take care.